we have a rule in our house. If it's not in the joint diary we share, it's not happening. That way Vicky and I can book meetings, exercise classes and social events in confidence, knowing whether or not we're free, whether or not the other person is free, whether one of us is around to watch the kids. However, as good as any shared online diary is, it cannot replace proper communication. There have been any number of times that Vicky and I have ended up a little annoyed with one another because something's been put in the diary or not put in the diary without adequate communication first. And I hold up my hands. I am normally the perpetrator of the injustice rather than the victim of it. Living as a community of God's people is not always easy, just like living as a family or alongside any group of people is difficult at times. Because none of us are perfect, we make mistakes, and sometimes the mistakes we make harm those around us. Sometimes those mistakes are just really annoying. If I'm honest, I think that whilst we cannot eliminate the mistakes we might make, we can deal with those mistakes far better by communicating with each other well. And this applies in our relationships with those closest to us, our husbands, wives, parents, children, friends and neighbours. It also most definitely applies in our church family. The passages we've been looking at in Acts over the last few days have seen problems arise in the life of the early church. There are internal problems. Ananias and Sapphira seeking to deceive the church family. Certain widows feeling left out that they're not getting their share. And external problems, persecution from the Jewish authorities. And as I've read these passages, I could not help but be reminded about how important good communication among the family of God is, or any family or community. The issue with Ananias and Sapphira wasn't that they were keeping money back, it was the deceit. Honesty would have avoided the whole thing. Persecution such as the apostles were suffering, hardships such as these, they are made so much easier. We get through them so much better with the support and care of others. But for others to support and care for us, they have to know the struggles we face. Maybe in our churches, in our church lives, far too often we keep things back. We don't allow others to care for us. The inequality among the widows is only noticed when someone speaks up and complains. The apostles, the church leaders, they're doing their best, but they need others in the church family. Firstly, to help them identify where the problems are, and then others to come in and help them solve those problems. As the church in our nation comes out of lockdown and begins to meet again and do more and more things again, we are going to face some of these sorts of problems. There will be internal problems. There will be things that are missed. Our relationships will be slightly different to how they were before, and so conflict will arise within them. We might experience external pressure which did not exist a year ago. And the only way for us to move forwards as a faithful community of God's people is to communicate well. To be truthful with one another rather than deceptive. To be open about our struggles so that we can support each other through them. And indeed to help our leaders identify the needs in our community. And then for us all to help be part of the solution.